Hello, I'm Chaplain Larry Crabtree with the St. Mary's County Sheriff's Office and the Maryland State Police.
And I'm Chaplain Charlie Wharton with the St. Mary's County Sheriff's Office.
Well, Charlie, we are having a special time of reflection and remembrance as we record this. In fact, this very week, as we're doing this recording, it is National Police Week. And a lot of people may not be aware of what that is and what that involves. So can you take a little bit of time and explain what do we mean when we talk about National Police Week?
National Police Week is a week that is set aside throughout the United States as a time of reflection, not only on the officers who have died in the line of duty, but also on the police profession. It started in 1962 when President Kennedy signed the initial order, and it has continued on ever since then, and it has really grown into a time in which the nation can come together and can honor our law enforcement officers.
In 1962, that's a good deal. That's before I was born. Yeah, I mean, you're a lot older than I am.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's not before I was born, but I don't remember the signing ceremony. So if that gives you a little bit of context there, so.
That's right. Well, of course, a lot of what we're going to do this week and what we're remembering are those law enforcement officers that have given their life. That's that great sacrifice. And there are some statistics how often that happens. And in fact, the last year or two, it's been kind of crazy because it's not the typical way that officers have died. There's some other contributing factors. So what are some of those statistics and why is it so crazy these last couple of years?
Traditionally in the United States, about 150 police officers die in the line of duty. Over the last couple of years, those numbers have swelled to well over 500, even 600 in 2021. According to the people who keep the numbers, 617 officers died in the line of duty or related to the line of duty. 475 of those, or about 77% of them, were medically related, and most of those probably can be attributed to COVID. This is the most significant impact that our profession has had.
So it is definitely a time to do some grieving because that is a great loss. And jails and prisons, I think, during COVID were a very dangerous place to be because that disease gets in there and it's confined in those walls. So it's a great risk.
And even outside of that, when you're responding to calls and when you're out there and people may not be taking the precautions that they should, and when you get out there on a call, there are some times when you just cannot be as safe as you would like to be. And so we're seeing some of that, the illness that translated and jumped beyond the precautions that we're taking.
Now, on top of that, we have our typical deaths, usually from gunfire or automobile accidents. So those are still within all of that mix.
Right. And what we're seeing is the assaults on officers, they're remaining relatively the same.
So at this time of year, we certainly are mindful of the men and women who have paid a great price and also their families. That pain of their loss of their loved one, these are great prices. And so our hearts go out to all those that are suffering, and this will go on for years to come.
And it's not just their physical families that pay the price. When you start to think about the Blue family, when you start to think about law enforcement and co-workers, every time we lose a law enforcement officer in the line of duty, it takes a little bit out of all of us, and not just those of us that are involved in the profession. Every time a law enforcement officer is killed in the line of duty, it takes something away from the community.
Absolutely. And so together we can express our sorrow, our appreciation, and our honor to those that have given their lives, to families that have given their loved ones, to coworkers that have lost those that are important to them, and to agencies that are hurting throughout this experience as well. And so we do remember them.
The other side of the National Police Week is also just the honoring of the profession. It is a profession that is noble. It's something that is very important that our communities maintain the appreciation and the honor for that profession.
I think as chaplains, I think we're some of their greatest cheerleaders. Because of the job that they do, we respect that job. We honor the work that they do. It's an honorable profession. I think of it so highly. And so we just want to sit here today in the midst of this special time of remembrance and reflection and just say how much we respect and appreciate those that are on patrol, those that are detectives that are doing investigations, those that most people don't think about that are within inside our jails and our prisons as corrections officers, those that work in the courts, those that transport back and forth. I mean, there's just so many aspects of law enforcement and police that people just never ever think about, and yet we appreciate them so much because our country could not be what it is without them.
For this week, and really for all of our professions, we truly appreciate what is done, and not just the officers, but their families as well.
Absolutely, because they're not going to be able to do this without their families, without that support, because those families also sacrifice a lot. People aren't aware that police officers, they obviously work their 40-hour work week or longer, whatever it might be, but people don't realize on their own time off, they got to take care of their cruisers, get the oil change, deal with some kind of puncture in a tire. There's training that has to be done. There might be paperwork that's left over that hasn't been finished that they need to fill out. And all of this time and effort is in addition to what a normal work week would be. And there's few that understand that and see it. And we appreciate that.
We really do. They miss birthday parties. They are late for Christmas. They rarely do they get the opportunity to spend New Year's Eve with their families. Super Bowls. A lot of people are working on Super Bowl Sunday. So the families, we appreciate what you put up with. And again, you may be the unsung heroes of everything that goes on in the profession.
Well, Charlie, as we wrap up this little time of remembrance, I think it's just important for us to say just thank you. Thank you for everything you do, whether it's seen or not. Thank you, families, for the sacrifices that you make, and you're being supportive in ways that people will never see or understand. But all of this we appreciate.
And if there's ever anything that we can do as chaplains, as advocates for you, please let us know.
Well, you know how we usually sign off, and it's not just a statement, we really mean it, and that is, be strong.
And be safe.